Naruto, the ninja who picks up ultimate powers. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 91. The next day, in the morning, bang bang bang. At the door of Hokage's office, Natsuki raised his hand and knocked on the door. Please come in. Tsunade's voice came from inside the office, and Natsuki pushed open the door directly and walked in. As soon as I entered, I could see Tsunade sitting behind his desk, working on documents, and Shizune was also assisting Tsunade by the side. I have to say that Shizune, the Hokage secretary, is still quite competent, at least for Tsunade's help. It is still quite large. Tsunade-sensei, senior sister Shizune, good morning. Natsuki said hello and stood straight to Tsunade's desk. Hearing Natsuki's voice, Tsunade put down the pen in his hand, looked up at Natsuki and smiled. Oh, it's rare that you actually came, but just right. Save me from letting the dark department notify you to come over. As he spoke, Tsunade took out a scroll from his drawer. Friend, from today onwards, you are the elite of Konoha Hidden Village. Congratulations. After Tsunade finished speaking, a smile also appeared on Shizune's face, and he spoke. Friend Kuin, congratulations. Taking the appointment letter handed over by Tsunade, Natsuki's face showed a satisfied smile. Thank you, teacher, senior sister. Playing with the elite shinobi scroll in his hand, Natsuki's happy appearance fell into Tsunade's eyes, and he was especially pleased to see it. Although Natsuki didn't ask Tsunade to teach much, but he was also her disciple. It's just that she, the master, doesn't have much effect at all. Now Natsuki has been promoted to the elite shinobi, which is also a rather face-saving thing for Tsunade. After becoming an elite shinobi, you should be visiting Hinata's house, right? Looking at the silly Natsuki, Tsunade asked with a smile on his face. Hearing this, Natsuki nodded with a smile. Yes, Hinata and I have been almost 7 years, and it's almost time to visit Hinata's house. After all, before that, it was only Naka shinobi, and now it is an elite shinobi, and you can almost go. Hearing Natsuki's words, Tsunade nodded and said, well, that's fine. Originally, I planned to let you be promoted to the elite shinobi next year. After all, your age is a hard injury, but considering the matter between you and Hinata, I will give it to you in advance. Natsuki put away the scroll and looked at Tsunade. Won't there be trouble? Leaning back in his chair, Tsunade spoke. No problem anyway, whether you are strength or seniority, it is already completely enough. Give your elite patience in advance. At most, it is a few words by the old stubborns in the village. It is not a big deal. Hearing this, Xiaomu nodded reassuringly and spoke. Then I'll go back, prepare a gift for a visit with your mother. Goodbye. As he spoke, Natsuki had already quickly left the Hokage's office and walked downstairs. As soon as Natsuki came downstairs, he saw Sunset Red with Hinata and the three, coming towards the Hokage building. With his eyes lit up, Natsuki directly shouted, Hinata. Hinata also saw Natsuki and quickly came to his side. Natsuki-kun, are you going on a mission? Hinata's tone was somewhat reluctant. After all, she wanted to spend a good day with Natsuki. Reaching out and rubbing Hinata's little head, Natsuki's gaze looked at Sunset Red. Teacher Hong, I have something important to find Hinata, so I will take her away first. Is it okay? After being stunned for a while, although Shirihong was puzzled, she still nodded. It's okay. Anyway, you only need to hand over the task next. If you have something, you can go first. Xiaomu thanked him. Thank you, Teacher Hong. Goodbye then. After saying goodbye, Natsuki directly took Hinata's small hand and walked quickly towards the house. Natsuki-kun, what's wrong? Feel like you're happy? Hinata asked with a crooked little face and looked at Natsuki. Shaking the scroll in his hand, Natsuki spoke. Of course happy, because I am now an elite shinobu of Konoha. Stunned for a moment, Hinata's face showed a color of surprise. Really? That's great. Natsuki looked at Hinata with a fond look and walked away while telling her what had just happened in the office. Left the 3 people in the 8th class who were slightly confused. Inuzuka said in disbelief. Shino, really fake? Just now, the guy from my friend said that he was already an elite forbearant? The hand that pushed the oil girl Shino pushed her eyes, had some small trembling. Really, friends are now already elite on enduring worthy of him. After Sunset Red was stunned, he also smiled. Alright, go to hand over the task, and then give you a few days off. It seems that my friend is going to visit Hinata's house. As he spoke, Sunset turned and walked towards the Hokage building. A genius like Xiaomu can't be envied. The 3rd day of promotion to elite shinobi. 6 o'clock in the evening. Neatly dressed and carrying gifts that were neither expensive nor rude, he arrived at the door of the Hinata family, Hinata's family. Seeing Natsuki's arrival from afar, Hinata, who had been waiting for a long time, directly greeted him. Xiaomu-kun, you are here. Nodding with a smile, Natsuki spoke. Well, my uncle has already been invited. Of course I dare not be late after all. I still want to marry Hinata as my wife. Hearing Natsuki's words, Hinata's face showed a hint of pink. Then let's go inside, father. I am waiting for Natsuki-kun. Nodding, Natsuki spoke. Then let's go inside. The two joined hands and walked into Hinata's house. This is the equivalent of a manor-style villa. Although it is big, it is more or less deserted. It is not as good as the one family built by Natsuki's family, although it is not large, but it is quite warm, and it is more suitable for a family to live in. But considering the identity of Hinata Hayashi, this is also normal. Since it is in Hinata's house, even if Natsuki usually likes to make out with Hinata, it is not good to be too much here. Since stepping into Hinata's house, Natsuki has always been well-behaved and has not been too intimate with Hinata. After all, everyone in the Hyuga family knows how to see through. That's too much. Who can stand this? In case a careless, come to an undisciplined guy and look at himself with wide eyes, it will be fun. With Hinata leading the way, Natsuki soon arrived at her family's reception room. As soon as he entered the door, Natsuki saw Hinata, who was full of majesty, sitting above the main throne, and an acquaintance who was doing it below. Hinata Ninji. Hello uncle. Seeing Hinata, Natsuki gave a casual gift and spoke. A small gift, please accept it. After saying something to Hinata Hayashi, Natsuki also nodded to Hinata Ninji. It was regarded as a hello. Hinata Ninji also nodded in response to Natsuki at the same time, did not speak. The protagonist here today is only Hinata. Hearing this, Hinata nodded and said, sit down, don't be too restrained, just treat it as your own home. Hearing Hinata's words, Natsuki bowed his head lightly, and sat down in a position that was obviously prepared for him. Although Natsuki is very confident, there is always some nervousness when facing Hinata. This is the emotion that every son-in-law will have when he sees his father-in-law. Very normal. Episode 92. Natsuki-kun, please use tea. Not long after Natsuki sat down, Hinata served her a cup of tea. Taking the teacup, Natsuki said with a smile, thank you, Hinata. Hinata smiled, winked at Natsuki, and left the living room. After Hinata left, the atmosphere in the living room was slightly dull. Natsuki couldn't figure out Hinata's personality and mood, so it was difficult to open his mouth, and he felt that Hinata seemed to be waiting for an opportunity to speak, so he could only wait. Nervous. Embarrassing. Natsuki's mood was quite complicated. Seeing this kind of thing as the old man, he is also a big girl on the sedan car, the first time, no experience. Fortunately, Hinata Hayashi did not let the atmosphere continue to be silent. After Natsuki took a sip of tea, Hinata Hayashi spoke. Friend, may I call you that? Hearing Hinata's words, Natsuki straightened up and said with a smile, uncle, you are casual, can I say no? Just be happy. In Natsuki's heart, he complained a little, but his face was straight. He knew that Hinata Hayashi was going to get down to business, and a serious person like Hinata Hayashi would basically not be tactful. Friend, you know? Hinata said with a serious face. Initially, I discussed with the 3rd generation of Hokage to train you into the 5th generation of Hokage in Konoha, but the world is unpredictable. During the Naka Shinobi exam, the 3rd generation of Mekage died, and then you were too young. Speaking of this, Hinata Ninji looked at Natsuki in surprise, and his eyes were slightly strange. Obviously, although he used to talk about fate or something, but the dirty world of adults, this guy is obviously not deeply involved, otherwise, there would be no such surprise. But fortunately, the current 5th generation Hokage is Tsunade-sama, and you will also be the 6th generation Hokage, and when you become the 6th generation Hokage, I will be absolutely sure of what I want to do. Hinata Hayashi looked apologetic, with a lonely color on his face, and looked at Natsuki. Sorry, friend, as a father, I am unqualified, and I attach such an exchange of benefits to my daughter's happiness. If you want to resent me, I have no complaints, but I will still do it. Speaking of this, Hinata Hayashi spoke. Here, I want to ask you to promise me that when you become Hokage, you will change the fate of the Hyuga clan. Open the skylight and say open words. As soon as Hinata at this moment came, he directly stated these things. The dissatisfaction that was originally hidden in Xiaomu's heart slowly dissipated. Although he didn't know what was the inevitable connection between becoming a Hokage and unravaging the fate carried by the Hyuga clan, this request still had to be granted. Because Hinata he wants to marry, Hokage he also wants to be. Uncle, although I don't know what kind of fate the Hyuga clan is carrying. After a deep groan, Natsuki spoke. But if you need my help, just say so. This is promised down. Hearing Natsuki's answer, a smile appeared on Hinata's face. Thank you. After thanking him, Hinata continued. The fate of the Hyuga clan no. It should be said that this fate is simply the fate that Hinata has carried. Slowly, Hinata Hayashi directly told Natsuki the difference between the Hyuga clan and the separation of the family. And also let Hinata Ninji take off the forehead guard. Let him take a look at the caged bird mark. After listening to the whole thing about the caged bird, Natsuki took a sip of tea and asked, Caged bird? I understand. It doesn't matter what the reason is, as long as there is. Sometimes, in-depth analysis can only bring trouble to yourself. Natsuki wants only one result, willing to let Hinata marry him. That's enough. As for what Hinata Hayashi said about the future fate of the Hyuga clan, he didn't care too much, but since he agreed, when he became Hokage, he could solve this matter. The rest, less important. Not long after the business chat, Hinata and Hanabi came over to call for dinner, and Natsuki also met his future mother-in-law. She is a typical Fuzi-type housewife who resembles Hinata's personality, and is very gentle and kind. Hinata's previous nature is completely inherited from this mother. Because before the meal, it has already been discussed, so at the dinner table, it is not too serious. There is a firework this little low, Lee Pistachio is there, This meal makes Xiaomu very comfortable. After dinner, Natsuki stayed at Hinata's house until after 8 o'clock before leaving. On the street outside the Hyuga clan, Natsuki and Hinata walked side by side. In this way, I can be regarded as officially recognized by your father. Looking at Hinata, who had a rosy face around him and was full of joy between his eyebrows, Natsuki said with emotion. Next, I should be ready, do more tasks, earn more task fees, and then when we are older, I will be engaged to you, and when we are 20 years old, I will marry you. Holding Hinata's little hand, Natsuki's tone carried a sense of happiness and spoke. Then we'll have a lovely daughter and it's called, well, when I go back and think about it, after deciding on our child's name, I will definitely choose a very nice name. Hearing Natsuki's words, Hinata's face had a happy smile on her face, and she was shy in her heart, but she was also attracted by the bright future of the two described by Natsuki, especially, have a daughter. But speaking of her daughter, Hinata asked cautiously, Natsuki-kun, don't you like your son? Stunned for a moment, Natsuki smiled slightly, looked at Hinata beside him, and spoke. Loved it too, I prefer my daughter though. A hand stroked Hinata's face, and Natsum spoke. Because Hinata is like my angel, our daughter will definitely be as cute and kind as you. Natsuki's words made Hinata's little head can't help but lower, because it is too shy, and there are some who dare not look at Natsuki. After kissing Hinata's forehead, Natsuki said with a confident face. Okay, Hinata, you can send it here, it's too far away, I'm not assured starting tomorrow. I will work harder for our future, so you can rest assured that I will propose to my uncle. Hinata Mime looked at Natsuki with strong affection and nodded vigorously. I know I will always wait for Natsuki-kun, always wait. Scratching Hinata's little chung's nose, Natsuki smiled and said, well, good night, Hinata. Then, Hinata nodded. Good night, Natsuki-kun. After saying good night, under Hinata's gaze, Natsuki left the Hyuga clan with ease. Starting tomorrow, you have to work harder. Blessings for a better future. Episode 93. Time flies, years go by. 2 years of time, like fine sand between the fingers, slipped away in a hurry. Time easily changed a lot of things, and there were a lot of changes in the village. On the Hokage Rock, the yen of the 5th generation of Hokage Tsunade has been carved. The villagers, the older generation has wrinkles on their faces, and the younger ones have grown into handsome young men. The ninja school graduated 2 batches of new people to Shinobi, and the village was still very noisy. And the ninjas of Natsuki's current generation are at least the existence of the middle ninja level. Of course, the most powerful Natsuki is already at the elite upper ninja level, and the village, and even the entire ninja world, already have a certain reputation, known as the Thunder Light of Konoha. One is because of the thunder instantaneous body technique at the top of the ninja realm pyramid at Natsuki's speed crown, and the other is because he has mastered the news of the flying thunder god technique, which has been known to the 5 hidden villages of the ninja realm. It can be regarded as inheriting the name of the 4th generation of Hokage Golden Flash, and he has broken through his own reputation. The other person appointed by Konoha to be a shinobi is Hinata Ninji, but compared to Natsuki, a dazzling guy, Hinata Ninji is a genius, but it is not too eye-catching. As for Hinata's words, he is still a ninja level of Naka Shinobi. Of course, the ninja level is not equivalent to the strength level, and now Hinata's strength has steadily stepped in. Elite Shinobi. In 2 years, at the cost of shortening the time spent dating Natsuki, Hinata has mastered not only excellent medical ninjutsu, but also Tsunade's most famous means, Monster Fist. Combined with Hinata's Honka's soft boxing, she really embarked on a new genre of physical arts as Natsuki envisioned. Although there is still a long way to go from the realm of rigidity and softness, internal and external current. All in all, in the past 2 years, there have been so many things that have changed. The whole of Konoha can be regarded as stepping into the era of renewal. Although there are still some decaying things inside, the blaster will soon blow all the decayed things in Konoha, and the last thing left will be new shoots. Natsuki's house. Hinata and her mother are doing flower arrangement, while Natsuki is in the small courtyard, wielding a grass pheasant sword. Peaceful and beautiful days. System, check my properties. While wielding the grass pheasant sword, Natsuki said in his heart. Shu host properties panel. Name, Natsuki Urine. Chakra, 13490. Ninjutsu, 5714. Physical skills, 5689. Illusion, 5677. Blood succession boundary, reincarnation eye, complete immortal body, comprehensive strength assessment, super shadow, 6 paths, luxurious data. Compared with the accumulation of a white card and a white card, the current Xiaomu, even the pursuit of purple cards, is not high. Even if it is a golden card, it is only a rarity. Of course, the orange miracle is still the orange miracle. His golden finger is really suitable for this character of Natsuki. Although at the beginning, a white card only has a few tenths of a data increase, but after cyan, it is a leap, and then a purple card, another leap. And the golden card is more to give Xiaomu blood succession limit, and even forbidden art and other things. If it is orange, it is basically directly linked to the 6 immortals. In the end, there are only 2 orange miracles that Natsuki gets. All in all, Xiaomu's luxurious data was piled up by relying on the purple cards he picked up in the past 2 years. The cultivation plan is all completed. After taking a look at the final comprehensive strength assessment, Xiaomu spoke. Ultra Shadow achieved. The 6 realms in the brackets refer to his strength after opening the reincarnation eye chakra mode. Putting away the grass pheasant sword, Natsuki turned his head with a satisfied smile on his face to look at Hinata, who was making flower arrangements with his mother, and his eyes were full of pampering and amazement. Growth is not only strength, but also external image. The current Hinata is completely different from what he remembers when the wind was transmitted. With a height of 1 meter and 6 meters, coupled with Hinata, who has long hair and waist, he already has a peerless feeling. In particular, the temperament has both the gentleness and beauty in her bones, and the heroic and clean feeling like Tsunade, and compared with Hinata before it, it seems to have completed the transformation from Cinderella to Snow White. She is a proper goddess. Of course, the same is true for the changes in figure. It's just that this is not enough for outsiders. As for Natsuki's own appearance change, in addition to the height has soared to 1 meter 8, his face looks more like a sunny man, not as big as Hinata's transformation. After all, Xiaomuda started when he was a child, and his external image is very good. Among the new generation of Konoha, the most popular couple, Natsuki and Hinata, this is something that everyone who knows the two of them recognizes. Sensing Natsuki's eyes, Hinata turned his head and saw Natsuki looking at him stunned, so he directly put down the things in his hand and asked softly, "Xiaomu-kun, is the practice over?" Hearing this, Natsuki nodded with a smile. It's over. While speaking, Natsuki had already come to Hinata's side and sat down, and put the grass pheasant sword in his hand aside casually. Hard work. Hinata's voice, still quite gentle, gently came behind Natsuki and helped him squeeze his shoulders. The mother who saw this scene, with a kind smile on her face, spoke. Hinata, you don't have to get used to him, you'll spoil your friends like this moreover. His practice can't see where it is hard at all. Dear mother, this is definitely my mother. Natsuki glanced at his mother resentfully, and spoke. Mother, I am your son. Hearing this, the mother glanced at Natsuki, and then her spoiled gaze fell on Hinata's body. But now I prefer Hinata-chan, daughter-in-law equals half-daughter, what's the problem? Grinning, Natsuki turned his head and said, no problem, no problem. The mother put the flower arrangement that had been made, stood up, knocked Natsuki's head, turned and walked towards the house. What do you want for lunch? Natsuki said casually. Anything goes. Hinata gave Natsuki a kiss on the cheek and stood up. I'll go help my mother prepare lunch, and Natsuki-kun will be alone for a while. Smiled and nodded, Natsuki looked at Hinata's back as he left, full of comfort. Hinata is really attractive like this. In Xiaomu's heart, he liked this atmosphere at home. This is probably home and all things prosperous. Turning his head and looking at Hokage Rock, he calculated the time a little in his heart, and Natsuki muttered, almost, it's time too. The day when Naruto Uzumaki and Jiraiya returned to the village should have been recently. P.S. This episode belongs to the Plus episode. After the finale of this book, it is possible to send a photo of me COS Tsunade, so stay tuned. By the way, I am the female emperor. Episode 94. After lunch, the mother went out to play with her friends, and the current mother, in Konoha's circle of wives, still has quite a status. The words of the mother and son have always been correct. Natsuki is a contentious son. Mother is not at home. Natsuki and Hinata are also on a date on the street, and the two of them like golden children and jade girls, walking on the street, are also a beautiful scenery of Konoha. Hinata, have you thought about it? When are we engaged? Holding Hinata's small hand, Natsuki turned his head and asked Hinata beside him. Calculate the time, we are 16 years old now. Hinata and I have been going through 12 years since we met each other, and I have spent half of my life with Hinata. Companionship is the longest confession of love. There is nothing wrong with this sentence, so understood that the relationship between Natsuki and Hinata is natural, and they are naturally together. I listened to Natsuki-kun. Looking at Natsuki sweetly, Hinata spoke. Today's Hinata, except for some particularly intimate things, is only shy about some particularly intimate things, and topics like engagement only make her feel sincerely happy. This is thanks to the fact that after training with Tsunade, Hinata is really super perfect now. It was already perfect, and now it is perfect above. In Natsuki's eyes, there is nothing wrong with this. Looking at Hinata, Natsuki gently squeezed the ri in his hand and spoke. I know, after a while, I will visit my uncle and aunt with my mother, and then discuss it, ha. Hearing this, Hinata gently bowed his head. The thought of getting engaged to Natsuki made Hinata's smile completely hidden, and Natsuki did the same. The difference between the two of them for the future is not very big, Walking down the street, Natsuki and Hinata didn't have long to stroll, and they saw familiar people. Sakura, who is also under Tsunade and will inherit the name of Tsunade-san Shinobi in the future. Nara Shikamaru, who has been able to handle the affairs of the village handily, will soon be promoted to the rank of upper shinobi. Reached the upper shinobu, the sister of the 5th generation Kazakage Iai Luo in the sand-hidden village, Temari. The three of them don't have anything. The most important thing is Naruto Uzumaki. Natsuki's gaze fell on Naruto Uzumaki, who had long blonde hair and a beard like 6 wounds on his face. He has grown up and begun to transform towards his father, the 4th generation of Hokage. Do you want to go over? Hinata naturally noticed it, and asked softly. The relationship between Uzumaki-san and Natsuki-kun is quite good. Hearing this, Natsuki squeezed Hinata's small hand, and Natsuki shook his head. No, now Naruto and Sakura, they should still have a lot of things to discuss. Let's go later, it's still more important to accompany Hinata, my family. Let's go shopping again. Hearing Natsuki's arrangement, Hinata did not object, but just nodded. Okay, although for Natsuki's circle of friends, Hinata will also remember and integrate into it, but for her, Natsuki's will is her will, and in front of Natsuki, Hinata is still the same as always. The two did not go over to say hello, and continued, go shopping on a date. In the evening, Natsuki, who had spent an afternoon with Hinata, sent her home. Although Hinata occasionally stays at Natsuki's house, most of the time, he will still go home obediently. Naruto is back. Walking on the way home, Natsuki's gaze flickered slightly, turned his head to look in the direction of Konoha's number 3 training ground, and smiled slightly. Let's go take a look. Swish. The figure flashed and disappeared directly from the street, and Natsuki had already headed towards the 3rd training ground, Konoha number 3 training ground. At this moment, Naruto Uzumaki and Sakura Haruno were facing Kakashi head-on. Both of them had serious faces. Next, Kakashi will test all the results of the practice of Naruto Uzumaki and Sakura Haruno in the past 2.5 years. Nearly 3 years, if the test passes. The original 7th class, which is also Kakashiban, will be restarted. This test attracted the attention of Konoha's 2 bigwigs. Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Tsunade's assistant Shizune were all quietly observing the battle. Jiraiya, who was sitting on the tree, looked at Naruto Uzumaki with a smile and whispered, if you're not serious, Kakashi, you're going to really lose. Tsunade under the tree held his pet pig and porpoise, looking at Haruno Sakura with an expectant look in his eyes. Sakura is different from her friends and Hinata, her words can inherit my ninja path very well. What kind of answer will you give me this test? Teacher, I'm looking forward to it. Compared to Natsuki, Haruno Sakura's talent is far inferior, and her path is not broad compared to Hinata. So after worshipping Tsunade, Haruno Sakura embarked on the same path as Tsunade's 2nd generation purpose at Natsuki's suggestion, perfectly inheriting Tsunade's ninja path. Compared to Haruno Sakura in Natsuki's memory, she is now even better. The Haruno Sakura in my original memory may have such and such deficiencies, but now, as a friend of Natsuki, Haruno Sakura is still good. Moreover, in the original work, those black spots on her body did not happen. For example, that and Naruto Uzumaki's lifelong agreement. So the relationship between Haruno Sakura and Natsuki is still quite good. After all, they used to be classmates, and they were companions behind. After all, one of the protagonists of the love triangle is not him. It's okay to be reliable as a friend, and Sakura Haruno is trustworthy as a companion. Swish. A gentle sound of breaking wind sounded, and Natsuki's figure appeared on the side. Teacher, senior sister Shizune, and long time no see, Jiraiya-sama. Natsuki's appearance, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Shizune all found out, but they were slightly surprised. Hearing Natsuki's greeting, Zeelai also smiled and nodded. Long time no see, friend. With just a slight hello, Jiraiya's gaze fell back on Naruto Uzumaki, who was more concerned about the results of the test at the moment. Although Natsuki is very genius, it is a disciple of Tsunade, and it is different from Naruto Uzumaki, an apprentice grandson plus a close disciple. Kiss and distance are different. Boom, did you know Naruto is back? After Natsuki came to his side, Tsunade turned his head with a smile and looked at Natsuki and asked. Nodding, Natsuki replied, when I was dating Hinata during the day, I saw him, so I knew he was back. While speaking, Natsuki looked at the 3 people facing each other in the field and spoke. Sakura plus Naruto, against Kakashi, the former teacher, Konoha technician. This battle makes people look forward to a little. The plot here, Natsuki has forgotten, so there is still some expectation of Sakura and Naruto Uzumaki's performance. It shouldn't be too bad. Episode 95. Late at night, the moon stars are sparse. Thundered. It should have been a quiet time, and in the entire number 3 training ground of Konoha, there was a continuous roar. Ninjutsu bombardment from time to time. This is also mixed with the sound of detonation charms, and the sound of the ground being broken and trees being interrupted comes from time to time. Kagura's perception radiated, and the details of the battle all fell into Natsuki's mind. Not bad. The performance of Naruto Uzumaki and Sakura Haruno was expected by Natsuki. After all, the future is to inherit the name of the 3 ninja and become the new generation of 3 ninja. Besides, Naruto Uzumaki is also a genius. Accident N01. Or it can be said that Naruto Uzumaki is a genius in battle, and in battle, this guy's will is quite remarkable, and occasionally a flash of light, and quite effective. So Naruto Uzumaki should not be underestimated. Of course, the current Haruno Sakura is also okay. As for Kakashi's tough performance, it was also expected by Natsuki. Konoha 5-5 Kai. No matter who the opponent is, I can barely open it. Kakashi's performance is decent. After all, this is a test, and it is not a real battle. I almost know the result. Seeing that it was past 10 o'clock in the evening, Natsuki spoke. I thought Naruto and Sakura would get it done quickly and talk, but it seems that they are going to enter a complete protracted battle. Hearing Natsuki's words, Jiraiya nodded approvingly with Tsunade. Tsunade said with a serious face. Indeed, both of them performed very well, but Kakashi was not that easy to beat, and this result was also expected by me. Zilai also leaned against the tree and answered, well, in terms of the results of testing combat effectiveness, it is already qualified, and it depends on Kakashi's own choice. Hearing the words of the two, Xiaomu touched his hair and spoke. Let's talk to Naruto again tomorrow. I went back. Goodbye teachers, senior sisters, and Jiraiya-sama. Swish. When the words fell, Natsuki's figure disappeared silently in place, already leaving. Seeing Jiraiya, who saw Natsuki leaving, his face showed a color of emotion. Flying Thunder God technique. Seeing my friends using this technique, I always think back to that guy from Watergate. It's been 16 years Watergate died. Tsunade didn't answer Jiraiya's words, just smiled and looked at the direction of the battle. Keep watching. Back home, Natsuki warmed up a little and ate before heading back to his room. Sitting at his desk, Natsuki frowned. Naruto is back. Kakashiban is rebooting at this time. There should be something big going on. Well, scratching his head and glancing helplessly out the window, Xiaomu said with a serious face. The 5th generation of Wind Shadow IAI Luo was hijacked by the artistic duo of the Shao organization, extracted a tail, lost his life, and then recaptured the mission. I don't remember exactly, but this mission marks the beginning of the turmoil in the ninja world. Boom. Clenching his fists, a smile appeared on Natsuki's face. Everything is about to begin, and after the next big turmoil, it's the life I've been longing for a long time. Get married and have children. Lying on his own bed, Natsuki closed his eyes and went to sleep. Those who disrupt my plans, there is no amnesty for killing. Turn off the lights and go to sleep. A quiet night. The next day, early in the morning, Xiaomu-kun, wake up quickly. Hinata's gentle voice sounded in his ears, and Natsuki slowly opened his sleepy eyes. Seeing the gentle and lovely children around him, Natsuki's sleepiness quickly receded. Swish. Natsuki reached out and hugged Hinata directly into his arms and lay on him. Did you come over so early today? Do you want to sleep in the cage? As he spoke, Natsuki patted his bed and looked at Hinata with a smile. The little face was red. Hinata looked at Natsuki and spoke. Today, Teacher Hong summoned our 8th class to carry out a mission. I came and told you hurry up. Don't bother with the bed. The mother and adults have already got up. Natsuki-kun is only this, like a child. Hinata's words made Natsuki smile heartily, and said in a bad tone, if I don't bother with my bed, how can I enjoy Hinata's daily wake-up service? While speaking, Natsuki also sat up, kissed Hinata, and with Hinata's help, changed his clothes. Enjoying this special service, Natsuki's heart felt a burst of satisfaction and pride. This virtuous woman belongs only to him. As a winner in life, in addition to a lot of troubles ahead, in fact, Natsuki no longer has too much pursuit. After waking up and having breakfast at home, Hinata left. After all, the 8th class was going to carry out a mission, and Hinata came over to say something to Natsuki. Of course, more to his mother. Previously, Natsuki's status in the family was secondary. Mother first. Now Natsuki's status in the family is third. Hinata second. If you have children after marriage in the future, it is estimated that you will be fourth, and if you are twins, you will be estimated to be fifth. However, this sort is only an external manifestation of the happiness in Xiaomu's heart. The family can't give happy people, and it can't be arranged, because you have a miserable life and can't remember this little pleasure. Of course, Xiaomu will not be tracheitis, let alone controlled by the elders or something. Her mother is very reasonable, and Hinata is gentle and virtuous. The real master of the Xiaomu family will always be Xiaomu. After Hinata left, Natsuki sat alone in the small courtyard, thinking about Hinata, thinking about the bright future, and a happy smile appeared on his face from time to time. Life is so damn good, it's about to make him intoxicated. Taking a sip of clear tea, Xiaomu said with great emotion, this is life. To be precise, this is the life of a rich man. Just when Natsuki sighed, swish, Shien wore a dark mask, and her figure appeared on the fence of Natsuki's house. Holding the teacup in his hand, Xiaomu saw Shien squatting on the wall, and the corners of his mouth twitched. The posture of squatting on a telephone pole in the day of Uchiha Itachi was probably learned when he was in the dark part, right? Shinobu Yujetsu, is there something wrong? Xiaomu looked at Shien, and a fine light flashed in his eyes. Is there a new mission? 9 times out of 10, it is a matter of Shain Village. It's just that he guessed, but couldn't say it, so Natsuki opened his mouth to ask such a sentence. Lord Natsuki, there is an urgent mission. Shien directly spoke. Naruto-sama asked you to bring all your equipment and go to the Hokage office as fast as you can to stand by. Hearing Shien's words, Xiaomu's face turned pale, and he spoke. Understood, I'll go right away, in 5 minutes. I will definitely be at the Hokage office. After getting a reply, Shien nodded. Yes, swish. As soon as the figure moved, Shien had already left Xiaomu's house, and Xiaomu had no reaction to this. As for the change in the name of Shien, this is caused by the change in Natsuki's status. Putting down the teacup in his hand, Natsuki walked into the house, brought all the equipment, and after speaking to his mother, Natsuki left the house. Snap. With his right hand on the grass pheasant sword, and glancing at the Hokage rock, Natsuki spoke. The wind has begun to blow. Swish. The words fell, and Xiaomu's figure disappeared instantly. Episode 96. Hokage Building. Bang bang bang. Arriving at Tsunade's office door, Natsuki reached out and knocked on the door. Friends? Come straight in. Tsunade's voice was full of solemn colors, which reached Natsuki's ears from the office. Click. Directly pushing open the door and walking in, Natsuki saw Tsunade standing at the window, with a gloomy and serious face, and Shizune who was writing a letterhead. Teacher, I'm coming. Natsuki also did not talk nonsense, and went straight to the point. Is there any tricky task? To this day, the tasks performed by Natsuki are basically above grade A, and they are still the kind that is completed independently. It's not that Natsuki has not been arranged with teammates, but those teammates can't keep up with the speed of Natsuki's task at all. Not only can they not play a role in assisting, but on the contrary, it will make Natsuki spend more energy, so much so that Natsuki's teammates, after working together several times, took the initiative to ask for the team to be disbanded. Because he was too good, he could no longer find teammates in Konoha to match with Natsuki and carry out tasks together. This is also quite a headache for Tsunade. When he got to the back, he simply continued the original arrangement of the 3 generations of Hokage, and Natsuki was active as a super elite personal squad alone. No one has an opinion on this. Natsuki's power has penetrated deep into the hearts of Konoha ninjas. So, Natsuki's voice fell, and Tsunade directly threw a scroll to Natsuki. Super S-class mission, friend. This time, the task can only be completed if it is handed over to you. Taking the task scroll, Natsuki's face was serious, and he directly opened it and took a look. As he expected, the 5th generation of Mechazekage of the Sand Hidden Village, and Aira, who he can call friends, were arrested by 2 members of the Shao organization last night, and Kankuro, who chased out of the village, was seriously injured by poisoning. His task is to support Shine Village, while paying attention to collecting information about the members of the Shao organization who made this attack. This task doesn't seem difficult, but considering that the object of the mission is Wind Shadow, plus the opponent is Shao organization, and because this task is a race against time, it is better to be performed by him with the fastest speed and the highest mobility. I know. After reading it, Natsuki put away the scroll and spoke. Let's go now. Tsunade nodded and spoke. Specifically, after you arrive at Shine Village, Maji will be responsible for negotiating with you this mission. Crucial, if there is any news, remember to use slugs to communicate. After a pause, Tsunade continued. I will arrange the support class, let them stand by. And after getting your information, I will let them go immediately. This time the enemy is quite troublesome. You alone, do not force yourself. With a smile, Natsuki spoke. Don't worry, teacher, I have a number in my heart. Swish. At the same time as the words fell, Natsuki's figure flashed, and he had already left Tsunade's office, and when he appeared again, he was already in the distance on the residential building, and was quickly heading towards Konoha's door. Tsunade looked at the afterimage left by Natsuki, his eyes solemn. The first battle was Shao organization, be careful friend. Shizune had already written a note, heard Tsunade's words, and spoke. Tsunade-sama, rest assured if none of our friends can perform this task, I don't think anyone else will succeed. Now our job is to inform the village and then prepare the support class. Nodding, Tsunade spoke. You're right, go, find Kakashi for me. Shizune's face was stunned, and he replied, yes. Swish. His figure moved quickly between the jungles, and Natsuki's speed was still very fast even if he did not use the thunder teleportation technique and the flying thunder god. It can even use the reincarnation I repulsion and gravity to combine with each other and fly in the air. It's just that the consumption of chakra is also quite a lot. If it weren't for the 100,000 hurry, Natsuki wouldn't be doing this. Huh? After setting off for half a day, Natsuki's chakra perception, Temari's breath appeared. Temari? The figure turned and went directly towards the place where Temari's breath was. Inside a small eating shop, Temari is resting. Swish. A sound of breaking wind sounded. Temari's face changed slightly, and his hands subconsciously put it on the 3-star fan. At this moment, Natsuki's figure appeared in front of Temari. Seeing Natsuki appear, Temari breathed a sigh of relief. What, it's you, can I help you? Natsuki nodded directly. Come with me, on the way, I will explain to you that something big has happened in your Shine Village. These words made Temari's face change. Something happened in the village? No wonder I'm distracted. Ever since leaving Konoha, Temari had a bad premonition in his heart. Hurry up and keep up with me. Nodding, Natsuki's figure leaped and left quickly. Temari also kept up quickly, with a hint of doubt on his face. After catching up with Natsuki, Temari asked, Minister Natsuki, what happened to my village? Minister. This is because Natsuki now has an idle position, hanging on to the position of the head of Konoha's medical department. After all, in addition to his combat effectiveness, Xiaomu's medical level is also a true legend of Tsunade. Natsuki is a man who combines output and milk skills. Wind Shadow I Love Luo was taken away by 2 members of the Shao organization. While quickly walking towards the front, Xiaomu said with a calm face, and your younger brother Kankuro, who is now in a state of serious injury, so you Sand Hidden Village, asked Konoha for help, and I am Konoha's reinforcement this time. Hearing Natsuki's words, Temari's face was ugly. What? I love Law and Kankuro, the bad premonition has all been fulfilled. Just explaining, Natsuki glanced at Temari and spoke. Temari accelerated its best to be able to rush to Sand Hidden Village before sunrise tomorrow morning. In order to save Kankuro and Aeluo, I won't stop the journey in between, you try to keep up with my speed. Hearing this, Temari's face turned stunned. Yes, Minister Natsuki. As Natsuki said, he really did not stop, and at an originally constant speed, he rushed all the way to the land of wind, straight to the sand-hidden village. The journey that originally took 3 days and 2 nights was directly compressed to 1 day and 1 night. You can see how fast Natsuki is. He didn't have any problems, but when he followed Natsuki and rushed to Shine Village, he was already exhausted. The sun in the east has just risen, and at the entrance of Shine Village. So, a kunai was directly inserted at the position of the main entrance. Just when the ninja of Sand-Hidden Village who was guarding here was stunned. Swish. Natsuki grabbed Teiju's shoulder with one hand, and the figures of the two appeared at the gate of Shine Village. Temari saw his own village, with a worried color on his face. Is it finally here? Episode 97. With the testimony from Temari and Tsunade, Natsuki did not have any obstacles to entering the village of Tsunahide. Soon, he and Temari arrived at the hospital in Shine Village, in an intensive care unit. These two are. As soon as he entered the intensive care unit, Natsuki's gaze naturally fell next to Kenkuro's hospital bed. 2 elderly men dressed as elders of the Sand-Hidden Village were standing in front of Kenkuro's hospital bed at this moment, observing Kenkuro's state. Maki accompanied the two with a respectful expression. Seeing this scene, Xiaomu's eyes flashed. It should be those two people. Xiaomu was very sure that these 2 old men, not others, were the 2 national treasure-level existences of Shine Village. Chiyo's mother-in-law and Kaizo. Speaking of which, these 2 old men are also Natsuki's teachers, that is, Tsunade's old opponents. It can be said that the grudge between the 2 sides is very deep, and it is likely to be the kind that will fight after meeting. And Chiyo's mother-in-law was also a shadow-level master, and she was very good at puppetry. Coupled with the ability to use poison, it is even more unique, according to the records of the Konoha war file that Natsuki saw. This old man has caused Konoha to suffer heavy losses many times, if it were not for Tsunade, the medical saint hand. It is estimated that during the Second Shinobi World War, Konoha is likely to pounce on the street. Of course, the real moisture of the information left by such a file is unknown. After all, it was also to praise the prestige of the 3 shinobi of Konoha, and praise Tsunade's opponents in order to improve Tsunade's prestige and status. This is a normal means that will be used all over the world. No need to complain. But no matter what, Chiyo's mother-in-law's strength is still undoubted. As for her younger brother Kaizang, so be it. I didn't expect these 2 to be there. Temari obviously also knew about Chiyo's mother-in-law and Kaizo, and opened his mouth to speak. If he didn't take over Ju, Natsuki stood by and waited while observing Kenkuro's situation. The poisoning is deep, and the life is not long. But this is not his territory. Let Chiyo's mother-in-law try it first. After all, those who use poison are also masters of detoxification. Maybe others can do it themselves, and there is no need for him to be a hero. Chiyo's mother-in-law's examination ended quickly. How? Chiyo mother-in-law, Kenkuro's situation, Maki asked with a worried look on his face. Shaking her head, Chiyo's mother-in-law spoke. Although I can solve the poison in him, it will take time, but with Kenkuro's current weakening speed, when my antidote is manufactured, his life will already be. Needless to say, everyone present understood it. How so? Temari's face had a hint of gloom. Kenkuro. Chiyo's mother-in-law heard Temari's words, turned her head, just glanced at Temari, and her gaze fell on Natsuki's body. The ninja of Konoha, why are they here in Tsunahide Village? Hearing the question, Natsuki spoke. Tsunahide asked Konoha for help, so I came over. Maki heard Natsuki's words and asked, Konoha's Thunder Light, are you the only reinforcements from Konoha? Natsuki nodded and admitted directly. Humph. Hearing that the reinforcements were only Natsuki, Chiyo's mother-in-law snorted. What role can a person's words play? Konoha's allies are really small. Hearing this, Xiaomu was somewhat speechless in his heart, and spoke. I'm alone, that's enough if you can, let me see Kenkuro's situation. After all, he is also my friend, don't look at me like this, he is also Konoha's medical minister. While speaking, Natsuki had already walked towards Kenkuro. There is no need to argue with an old man about something. After all, Xiaomu is not a person from their time, and he can't understand what these old people are pursuing. And for the existence of grandmothers, this kind of harmless spit is in and out of the left ear for Xiaomu. Raising his hand, chakra, which condensed the green light, pressed on Kenkuro's body. Through chakra's perception, Natsuki was able to clearly perceive the situation in his body. The toxin is almost densely packed all over the body, but the most important place is still in the heart position. But there is still time. Chiyo mother-in-law, how long does it take you to make the antidote? Natsuki looked at Chiyo's mother-in-law with an inquiring look in her eyes. Glancing at Natsuki, Chiyo's mother-in-law muttered, it takes at least 3 days to draw blood to extract toxins, and then analyze and make antidotes, and his situation can only be. Natsuki glanced at Kenkuro and spoke. I can help him clean up the toxin regularly, but if you want to completely detoxify, you still need your mother-in-law's antidote. For 3 days, I can still delay the antidote matter. Please. While speaking, Natsuki looked at the other medical staff around him. Prepare ordinary nutrient solution, and then you guys will come and help me clean up the toxins. Several medical staff in Shine Village heard this, and at the same time replied, yes. The entire intensive care unit began to get busy. Chiyo's mother-in-law on the side looked at Natsuki with cloudy eyes, and then turned to leave. In less than 3 days, at most 2.5 days, the old body will be able to make an antidote. The proud old man will not easily admit defeat. Chiyo mother-in-law, Probably such a person. Fast forward, 3 days later. After 3 busy days, Kankuro's condition stabilized. The antidote is also made. Although Chiyo's mother-in-law said 2.5 days, it actually took only 2 days to make it. In an office, Natsuki looked at a rag in front of him, which Kankuro had desperately ripped off on the body of the red sand scorpion. Raising his head, Natsuki looked at Maki and Temari, and spoke. "Leave this cloth to me. I asked the slugs to bring back to Konoha, and asked Tsunade-sensei to arrange a support class to track down Kankuro's condition has stabilized. And I will follow the mission to track down the whereabouts of my arrow and try my best to get him back." Natsuki's words made both Maki and Temari look ashamed. Although the wind shadow was robbed, the entire Shine village had no intention of rescuing at all. The deep reason for this strange way of handling is that Natsuki will not delve into it. But his mission is to save my arrow, and now there is no movement on this side of Shine village, and Natsuki naturally still has to do this task. Looking at Natsuki, Temari bowed directly 90 degrees. "Minister Natsuki, my brother Iai Luo, please ask you." Shaking his head, Natsuki said without caring at all. "This is my mission, and Iai Luo is also my friend. I will go to save him, please rest assured." While speaking, Natsuki had already formed the seal of psychic art with both hands, and channeled a small slug's doppelganger, and handed the rag to the slugs to bring back to Konoha. Then, "I'll go." Natsuki straightened his equipment and said to Maki and Temari. Before the words were finished, the office door opened, and Chiyo's mother-in-law walked in, looking at Natsuki. "Slug Girl's apprentice, the old body will go with you to save me, Ilua." Episode 98. Mother-in-law Chiyo. Temari saw Chiyo's mother-in-law come in with a hint of surprise on her face. "You're going to rescue me, Arrow?" Hearing this, Chiyo's mother-in-law glanced at Temari, and then a gloomy look appeared on her face, and she spoke. "I Love Luo is the 5th generation of the Wind Shadow of Sand Hidden Village. The rescue of Era cannot rely on Konoha's ninja alone, and the old body also has to correct a mistake." Hearing Chiyo's mother-in-law's words, Temari's face was also gloomy. "It's a shame. The high level of Shine Village is even more decayed than Konoha, and it is rotted to the bone. Even if his own Wind Shadow was robbed, the first thing that the high level thought of was not rescue, but to re-elect a new Wind Shadow. This kind of rot has penetrated deep into the bones of Shine Village. If that's the case, let's go." Xiaomu ignored the matter of the Shine Village, opened his mouth, and walked directly towards the door. Chiyo's mother-in-law glanced at Temari and said with a smile, "Temari, don't worry, I'll be fine with Arrow." After speaking, he quickly followed Natsuki's figure. Yikes. The two figures move between the trees, one in front of the other, and the speed is not slow. Although the specific location is not known, the approximate location can be determined according to the direction Kankuro traced. Now you can only enter a certain area and use your excellent perception to ask for the enemy. The situation on this side, Natsuki also notified Konoha, presumably let the support come. "Disciple of the slug, what's your name?" Following Natsuki, Chiyo's mother-in-law had an inquiring look on her face and asked. "Temari told me, but the old body has a bad memory and forgets." Hearing this, Xiaomu's face showed a helpless color, and he spoke. "Natsuki friend, my name is Natsuki friend." Nodding, mother-in-law Chiyo spoke again. "Natsuki friend, you say I Love Luo is your friend? Is this true? With your identity, you should know that I Love Luo's identity." Natsuki smiled and spoke. "Renzali friend, I still have won this mission. Mother-in-law Chiyo, you can meet him." At that time, mother-in-law Chiyo, the answer to the question in your heart, the answer is in him. After a pause, Natsuki spoke. "I'm not a human pillar force, so even if you ask me, you won't be able to get an answer. Which is the strongest, Hokage mouth? Naruto Uzumaki of Konoha is not allowed." The question in Chiyo's mother-in-law's heart about the power of the human pillar, Natsuki can't answer it. After all, there is no empathy, there is only one person who can answer it. Naruto Uzumaki. Natsuki never doubted this. As long as you have a deep contact with Naruto Uzumaki, you will be able to find the shining point on this second stunned man. No matter what, Natsuki is also a man who is regarded as a best friend by Naruto Uzumaki, so for him, Natsuki's feelings are quite profound. Although Naruto Uzumaki can't affect Natsuki, I have to say that in his body, you can feel a sense of courage. That is, what Jiraiya said, the most important root nature of ninjas. Perseverance to never give up, yes? Hearing Natsuki's words, Chiyo's mother-in-law's face showed a hint of expectation. "Then I'm starting to look forward to it." Nodding with a smile, Natsuki spoke. "Don't worry, Naruto's answer will definitely not disappoint you." Mother-in-law Chiyo nodded, pondered her own affairs, and stopped talking. Xiaomu and this old man didn't have much to talk about, so naturally they didn't speak. Moved forward for a while. Boom. A small cloud of white smoke spread above Natsuki's shoulder, and a small sludge doppelganger appeared on Natsuki's shoulder. Yikes. The figures of Natsuki and Chiyo's mother-in-law stopped above a branch. Turning his head, Natsuki looked at the slugs on his shoulders. "Slug, any intelligence?" Hearing Xiaomu's words, the slugs directly spoke. "Natsuki-sama, now Hinata-sama, and the 3 of the 8th class are approaching in your direction. They are coming to converge, and the 3 of Kakashiban, under the leadership of the ninja dog Parker, have gone to their destination." Hearing this, Natsuki nodded clearly. "I know, I will go a little further with Chiyo's mother-in-law. After dark, we will stop and wait for Hinata them, and the slugs will trouble you to be in charge of liaison." After answering, the slugs once again channeled away. When the slugs left, mother-in-law Chiyo spoke. "A psychic beast of a slug woman?" long time no see. Not knowing how to answer this, Natsuki spoke. Mother-in-law Chiyo, let's go a little further, and after dark, we stop and wait for Hinata to come over. The 8th class is the perception class, and with their help, we will soon be able to find the place of my arrow. Nodding, Chiyo's mother-in-law had no objections to Natsuki's arrangement. Late at night, Natsuki raised a bonfire, ate a dry meal, and waited for the arrival of the 8th shift. Ninjas are out on a mission, have dry food to eat, it's already very good, don't ask for anything else. Of course, if you can catch wild meat, it's still good. Natsuki friend, someone is approaching. After resting for a while, mother-in-law Chiyo suddenly spoke. Is it your Konoha support class? With a smile on his face, Natsuki nodded. Yes. The voice just fell. Yikes. The 4 figures fell from the darkness to the side of the campfire. With the support of Hinata, Inazukaya, and Shino the oil girl, she has finally arrived. Friend, here we are. Seeing Natsuki, Sunset Hong opened her mouth to say hello and glanced at Chiyo's mother-in-law, who was sitting on the side. This is? Natsuki stood up and introduced. Good work, Teacher Hong. This is the elder of Sunahide village, mother-in-law Chiyo. Turning his head and looking at Chiyo's mother-in-law, Natsuki continued. Chiyo-san-in-ma, this is our Konoha's Kami Shinobi Hinata, as well as Hinata, Inazukaya, and Shino the oil girl from the 8th class. They came to support us. Looking up at the 3 Hinata, Chiyo's mother-in-law muttered. White eyes, canine messengers, insect messengers, I see hello. After a few people said hello a little, they sat down directly to rest. They just finished a B-level task, they rushed directly over. And now is the time of physical and mental exhaustion. Hinata. After everyone said hello, Natsuki's thoughts were all on Hinata's body. Hard work on you. Glancing distrustfully at Hinata, who was sitting beside him, Natsuki reached out and took her into his arms, finding her a comfortable position for Hinata to lie down. Xiaomu-kun, I'm not tired. Looking at Natsuki softly, Hinata said with a sweet smile on her face. I'm very happy to be able to carry out a mission with Natsuki-kun again. With a spoiled smile, Natsuki pressed Hinata into his arms and rubbed her little head. Obedient, sleep obediently. Episode 99. Hearing Natsuki's gentle and domineering words and demands, Hinata bowed her head gently. Lying in Natsuki's arms, rubbing Natsuki's heart, breathing in this breath that reassured her, Hinata's exhaustion soon came, and she lay in Natsuki's arms like this, falling asleep sweetly. Natsuki looked at Hinata with a spoiled expression, and his body remained motionless so as not to wake Hinata up. After all, in this case, the alertness of ninjas is quite high. For Hinata's protection and pampering, Natsuki has long formed a habit, so at this moment, he does not feel anything wrong at all. Slowly, Natsuki also fell asleep. Don't worry about the vigil. With his current strength, a little strange chakra can be detected. So Natsuki slept peacefully. And next to the bonfire, Sunset Hong looked at Natsuki and Hinata with a smile and satisfaction. How to say it? In the past 3 years, the relationship between Natsuki and Hinata has developed the fastest. She has watched it, and she has a feeling of watching her junior grow, which is quite good. And Sunset Red is a woman with a very bright maternal brilliance. You seem to trust that kid? Chiyo's mother-in-law softly asked Sunset Red, although he is excellent. Hearing Chiyo's mother-in-law's question, Sunset Hong's face showed a hint of stunnedness, and then spoke. Yes, we all trust our friends. With doubts on her face, mother-in-law Chiyo continued to ask. Why? Because of his strength? If that's the case, he's pretty reliable. Smiling, Sunset Red withdrew her gaze towards Hinata and Natsuki, and said, what's the reason? Because he is a friend of Natsuki. It's that simple. If there is a reason that must be said, my friend is the 6th generation Hokage that everyone in Konoha recognizes. This news has long become a secret that is not a secret, and there is nothing that cannot be said. After all, Tsunade's action of cultivating Natsuki is obvious. Compared to the 3 generations, Tsunade is equivalent to directly promoting Konoha's 6th generation Hokage, and it will only be Natsuki. Hearing this, Chiyo's mother-in-law's eyes widened instantly, looking at Sunset Red in amazement, opening her mouth, but not being able to say more. Recognized 6th generation Hokage? In other words, this Natsuki friend is a candidate for Hokage, and listening to the meaning of the words in the red words of the sunset, it is still a Hokage candidate recognized by everyone. In every way, this information is amazing. But if you think about it, Chiyo's mother-in-law takes it for granted. Powerful, deeply popular with the people. He is also a personal disciple of the 5th generation of Konoha. In any way, Natsuki is the most suitable. Think about it a little. Konoha is really blessed. Mother-in-law Chiyo said softly. Geniuses, excellent ninjas, generation after generation, from the previous White Fang, the 3 Shinobi, to the later Golden Flash, and now, there is such an existence as the Thunder Light Natsuki friend. The tone was full of emotion, and Chiyo's mother-in-law really felt that Konoha seemed to have a natural advantage. Geniuses come out generation after generation. In contrast, the other 4 major ninja villages, Yunin Village, seem to be strong with a pair of AB combinations and perfect 2-tailed human pillars. The village is still quite strong, and the other hidden villages are green and yellow. Especially Shine Village, now people are forcibly rushing into the village and robbing the Wind Shadow. The gap between the two is really not ordinarily big. Looking at the bonfire, Chiyo's mother-in-law's face had a hint of contemplation, and the sunset red did not disturb her. The night was silent, only the sound of a campfire burning. The next day, early in the morning, at sunrise, Hinata snorted softly, and slowly opened her eyes, with a dazed look on her face. Smelling the familiar breath, Hinata looked up at the person who was holding him, and at a glance he saw Natsuki's spoiled expression. "Good morning, Hinata." Natsuki smiled and spoke. "It's almost time, we're going." Knowing that he had slept in Natsuki's arms all night, Hinata's face showed a shy color, but it was more happy and joyful. Xiaomujuan's embrace is really fascinating and reassuring. Standing up from Natsuki's arms, Hinata spoke. "Good morning, Natsuki-kun. There will be no thanks, no thanks." Just as Hinata provided Natsuki with a knee pillow for an afternoon without complaint, Natsuki was even more so. Boom. Standing up, Natsuki stretched out, and the bones on his body crackled. Glancing at Inuzuka and Shino the oil girl, who had all woken up, Natsuki said to Chiyo's mother-in-law and Yuri Hong, "Mother-in-law Chiyo, Teacher Han, I must find where Arrow is today. The longer it drags on, the more unfavorable the situation will be. Kakashiban has Parker here, and he should find his destination soon." Hearing Natsuki's words, Sunset Red and Chiyo's mother-in-law both nodded. Turning his head and looking at Inuzuka and Shino on the side, Natsuki spoke. "Long-distance tracking will be left to you, and Shino. Akamaru and Bug's ability to track smells is very powerful. Much more useful in this situation than Natsuki's Kagura Heart Eye and Hinata's White Eye. After all, the vision of the White Eye is limited, and once the Kagura Heart Eye encounters the sealing enchantment, it will not play much role. After all, the Kagura Heart Eye senses chakra to determine the dynamics of the other party." Hearing Natsuki's arrangement, Inuzuka and Shino the oil girl showed a smile on their faces, and spoke. "Leave it to us." Nodding in satisfaction, Natsuki spoke. "So let's go." In a dark cave, above the fingers of the golem of the outer Tao, stood all the personnel of the Shao organization, except for Deidara, who appeared in Sand Hidden Village before. The two main bodies are here, everyone else is a chakra phantom. At this moment, these members of the Shao organization are using a powerful sealing technique Magic 9 Dragon Seal, extracting a crane in my Ailua's body, and even chakra with my arrow is also being extracted. As you can see, Iai Luo, who is suspended in front of the outer path golem, is already dying. The work of extracting a crane has reached the final step. Oh yes. At this moment, a member of the Shao organization on one finger suddenly spoke. In the direction of Sunahide village, the ninja army with Konoha has come over, and judging by their clear target, it seems that they already know about this place. Hearing the words, all the members of the Shao organization were stunned for a moment. The leader of the Shao organization, Pain, pondered for a moment, and asked indifferently, "Who is it?" He replied directly, "Konoha's Thunder Light, that Natsuki friend, quite a dangerous guy. Even if I am very confident in my skills, I don't dare to get too close, just glance at it from a very far away." Hearing the words, everyone in the Shao organization was silent. Xiaomu's information, they who want to do a good job of the tailed orc pillar force information, they naturally have understood. This person is by no means a good stubble. Episode 100, Ghost Mackerel. After pondering for a while, Pain looked at the phantom of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel and spoke. "Natsuki's friend handed over to you of the people present, only your chakra is the most abundant. With 30% of the chakra of the elephant turning technique, hold it for a while, no problem." Hearing Pain's words, the dried persimmon ghost mackerel smiled. "Who knows? That is the Thunder Light that has mastered the art of the flying thunder god. However, since you have asked for it, then I will try my best." The words of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel let everyone understand. He really didn't want to face Natsuki's friend. Very don't want to. This is very rare for a shadow level powerhouse, especially on the body of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel, and it is even more rare to see. After the voice of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel fell, there was no movement, and it was obvious that it was already the control of the elephant turning technique and left. Flying thunder god technique. Deidara, rarely, did not tease and contemptuously, but said in a solemn tone, "Quite a dangerous technique." When the red sand scorpion heard this, a contemptuous smile appeared on his face. "Huh? You would be afraid." Deidara's face froze, and he spoke. "For Boshir's Sand Hidden Village has not faced the Flying Thunder God technique. Of course, I don't know how terrifying the ninja who has mastered the Flying Thunder God art is, but our village can't send the order to see the golden flash, and can directly abandon the mission bastard." The red sand scorpion smiled disdainfully. "Golden glitter is golden glitter, and thunder light is thunder light. The flying thunder god is strong in the hands of the golden flash, but in the hands of the thunder light, it may not be. Don't understand such a simple truth? Idiot." Just as Deidara was about to argue with the red sand scorpion again, he spoke again. "Huh? Someone is here again." This time, it was Konoha's side, and that Sharingan Kakashi with 2 ninjas also came over the 9 tails or 2. When Pain heard this, his sharp gaze fell on Deidara's body. "This time the mission, there is some noise, Deidara." A cold light flashed in the eyes of the red sand scorpion, and he spoke. "This little ghost's technique is not suitable for covert operations." Deidara's face froze, and she didn't say anything more. This time, it was indeed he who was too arrogant. "Since the 9-tailed man Juli is also there, let me go." Uchiha suddenly spoke. After all, the 9 tails is the task of my group. Pain glanced at Uchiha and nodded. Then there you go. Between the woods, 5 figures move fast. The ninja's movement, although not flying, but moving between the jungles, is also extremely fast. Inuzuka and Shino the oil girl lead the way in front, Natsuki in the middle, Sunset Red and Chiyo's mother-in-law on the left and right, and Hinata behind him monitoring the rear with wide eyes. After all, the opponent is the Shao organization, and no one dares to carelessly underestimate the enemy. Knowing the horror of this organization, Natsuki will not underestimate the enemy, even if his strength has reached the Super Shadow level. But this Super Shadow, he only entered not long ago. It will take a little time to really become a realm that can suppress the power of one person, and no one dares to dominate the ninja world. Moreover, carelessness is lost. If your strength is strong, you will underestimate the enemy, and this kind of stupid behavior is not something that Xiaomu can do. If you don't pay attention, you will pounce on the street. It's cruel, but that's the reality. Natsuki-kun. Just as he was advancing, Hinata's face suddenly changed, and he spoke. There's a huge chakra approaching ahead, it's so fast. Hearing Hinata's words, Natsuki nodded and spoke. Well, I found him too. Stop. Whoops. One by one, the figure flickered, and the 5 of Xiaomu fell to the ground and looked ahead. Hinata said with a serious face. Underground. Xiaomu nodded, stepped forward, raised his right foot, and smashed down fiercely. Heavenly keep. Boom. Boom boom. The moment Xiaomu's footsteps stepped on the ground, the terrifying power poured out directly, and the entire ground was directly overturned by this force, and rubble and mud flew all over the sky. Swish. The figure of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel, stepping on a large rock, also flew into the air. The dried persimmon ghost mackerel, whose hands had been sealed, looked at the 5 of Natsuki. Water escape, burst water rush, crash. The mouth was like a hanging river, and from the mouth of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel, a large river-like water was spit out, directly rushing towards Xiaomu and the others. It's just that before this big water rushed to this side, the 5 of Xiaomu had already leapt up. When I landed again, I was already stepping on a huge lake. In this way, the battlefield is laid out. After making this lake, the dry persimmon ghost mackerel showed a satisfied smile on his face and spoke. Then next, it's time to fight. Raising a pair of eyes, the dried persimmon ghost mackerel looked directly at Natsuki. Snap. With his right hand on the grass pheasant sword, Natsuki's face was still calm. Good choice, Natsuki said with a calm face. But no matter how you choose the battlefield, it is useless, because the strength is not a dimension at all. The dried persimmon ghost mackerel smiled coldly and spoke. I didn't think about winning either, but if I just dragged out time, it should be a problem. Sting. With a flash of lightning, Xiaomu's figure had already appeared in front of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel. Lay done lay, instantaneous technique. Choke. The grass pheasant sword jerked out of its sheath, accompanied by a terrifying thunder chakra. One knife flow, thunder pull out the knife and slash. Zhing. The sharp aura on the grass pheasant sword rushed straight to the soul of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel, and the breath of death instantly covered his body. Too fast. The body of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel subconsciously retreated, but this thought just rose. Hide, can't dodge? Poof. The grass pheasant sword in Xiaomu's hand had already cut through the neck of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel. Too slow. With a calm face, Xiaomu said indifferently. If your body is there, it may take some means, but you don't even have half the strength of the body. Who gave you the courage to stop me? His eyes widened, and the dried persimmon ghost mackerel had not yet spoken, and his body was a burst of changes. Become someone else. As soon as the dried persimmon ghost mackerel died, this large lake had already disappeared. Boom. The person possessed by the dried persimmon ghost chakra, the body fell to the ground, there was a fatal wound on the neck, and he was already dead of anger. Hinata and the others came to Natsuki's side, glanced at the dried persimmon ghost mackerel that had turned into another person, and was puzzled. What's going on? Hearing this, Natsuki spoke. It should be a special ninjutsu. It seems that we are going in the right direction, otherwise the other party would not have shot the sniper so quickly. In that case, next, let's speed up. Hearing this, everyone answered in unison. Yes. Inside the dark cave, the phantom of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel fluctuated for a while, and then the silent voice of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel sounded in the cave. I failed after just one face. He was killed by Natsuki's friends. Hearing the words of the dried persimmon ghost mackerel, everyone was silent for a while. This result has long been expected. It's just that no one expected that the dried persimmon ghost mackerel would lose so quickly.